All right, the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is review some trig proofs. So what you're going to want is a trig identity sheet, and this sheet is actually on Schoology. It should be on one of the top things on your Schoology class. So why don't you take a second and pause and go ahead and grab that trig identity sheet. Then we have this example. Using the trig identity, show that the following are true. So I would recommend taking one side and one side only and changing that side until it equals the other side. So the left-hand side looks more complicated, so I am going to start with that. Some things you could do is take trig functions such as sine and secant, cosecant, cotangent, and convert them into sines and cosines. Well, along with tangent. That's like one tip or trick. Another thing that you guys could do might be factoring. The other one could be simplifying. So when I look at this problem, I see that the numerator, I could factor out a cosine. So I'm going to factor out a cosine from the numerator. If I do that, I have sine squared of x plus, if it's a cosine cubed and I took one out, I now have cosine squared of x all over sine of x, cotangent of x. And you might not remember because it's been a little bit, but sine squared plus cosine squared is, if I find it on here, maybe that was one that I think you're supposed to know that we didn't have in trig. This is from a few years ago in trig. It's not on there. So sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. That's a common one. So I know that this whole piece here is 1. So I rewrite. I got cosine of x times 1 all over sine of x. Trying to show that it equals cotangent of x. So cosine over sine is cotangent of x equals cotangent of x. So did I show or prove that this is true? Yes, I did. So there is that one. The next one, I want you to go ahead and take a second and think about how you could process this or how you could start this one. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I would recommend is checking if I could factor anything out. So here's one part and here's another. They don't share anything and can't factor anything out. So then my other thought is, can I change it into other functions? So I'm going to take all my reciprocal functions and my tangent and put it into terms of sine and cosine. So tangent is sine of x over cosine of x times cosine of x. Plus cosecant. What is cosecant? It's 1 over sine of x times sine of x squared equals 2 sine of x. Now that I've done this, I'm going to simplify, and I will see, got a cosine and a cosine, that cancels, so I got sine squared. Sorry, not sine squared, just sine. Plus, now here I got sine squared and a sine. So if I had x squared over x, I could combine those, and it would leave me with just x. So same thing here. This is sine of the first, that's sine of the second. So when I combine them, I just have sine. And sine of x plus sine of x is 2 sine of x, and that equals 2 sine of x. So we are done, and there is that. So those are some trig proof reviews. I would keep that trig identity sheet handy to kind of help you out. But that is that.